drawing of a badger. A little duck. This is the good stuff. My brain would just not shut up. It's like they're all staring at you. Alright, so these are all my sketchbooks. This is the cherry pad, and this is probably the most important book I've ever finished in my life, sketchbook wise. I got it in 2017, and it is something that sat in my pocket for about a year. I think I like to have themes to my books, because sometimes you get the idea where it's like, I don't know what to draw. If your book's got a theme to it, maybe you can have something to work with when your head is out of ideas. I don't have a clue what this was about, to be honest. So, first page, Brad Pitt, Fight Club. I don't know why I picked this. I was probably watching it at the time, then paused it. You know, it looks okay, but I literally just copied a photo, so here to the left, it's gallery exhibitions I want to go to. And I've got a cool little landscape, and I remember doing this actually. I remember having a pot of ink on me and did a little sketch. Yeah, I mean, it's alright. It's a bit lazy the way I've done the details and the lights, but overall I pretty like it, and it sort of reminds me of that moment. And the plant, it's just some edgy writing, and I wasn't sure how to combine them. I drew this eye, but this one was done by my friend from university, Rose. Thank you, Rose, for drawing on my book. Here is just a big abstract love heart. I think I did this under the influence. Might have had two in my hand and sketched it at the same time. This, I don't really want to cover this. I've been thinking about ants, flying ants and their queens. I'm wondering if when they were born, they knew they'll grow up to be. Do the worker ants wonder if they'll be the queen? Do the queens even want to be queens? I mean, clearly there I'm talking about my gender identity and being forced into a way of being growing up. Right. Disclosure. I did acid for the first time, and I documented it in this book. I did it in an environment that was with a lot of my friends. It was in a good, safe environment to do it, as much as a teenager or young adult can get. I brought lots of art supplies with me to cover the experience. I didn't know what it was going to be like when it kicks in, like how my visual is going to change, and if I've got this observational drawing book, how will those be affected? So here's some flowers. I think I probably got the colour in first and then just penned it over. I remember trying to hold that pen was just so difficult. I wasn't going to do some extravagant painting, it was going to be very bare bones, but the lines that I did make were more thoughtful because it took so long to make them. And this one's cute, it's just two cats. These are my friend's cats, and they were amazing to look after and be around whilst we were tripping. I like how soft it is, and even if it was an observational drawing, it's almost got this narrative that I cared a lot about these animals, and I wanted to draw them with dignity, even whilst I was tripping out of my mind and couldn't think properly. Cats and acid, blue beams with ice cream come down. And the blue beams comes from my friend who was dancing, and as I was looking at him, it was like light was bouncing off of him, like a disco ball. This cup took a lot of effort to draw. This cup here is all I can manage. I'll have another. New banana. I mean, I was a bit confused about the banana part, then I realised that we went out for fruit, and I brought a banana and some strawberries, and it was amazing to eat those. Have a close-up of the cat. Clearly I don't really understand how cats' eyes work. Life is nice. What I like about this is that all of those eyes line up perfectly. I remember trying to write that, and I was actually having the worst part of the trip. I was getting overwhelmed by the sounds of the wind outside. In my head, that noise was getting louder and louder and louder, so I just went and drew some trees that were blowing outside. Okay, this page is really cool. It's just exploring those street lights from earlier in the book. I had turned this one into a painting, and these were my thumbnail sketches for it. I just find the imagery of it really peaceful. Got a little duck. I remember I went to an art gallery and had a little walk by the lake, and there was some ducks there, and you can see that I've brought some really colourful pens with me. I was like, okay, so if I take a bright orange pen, how is that going to influence what I choose to draw when I'm out? It makes me happy to see that one. William Turnbull, double red, 1966 painted steel. Okay, this is some abstract sculpture. People make their own interpretation about abstract art, but at the time I really enjoyed that stuff. This looks a bit more like a roller coaster than streetlights. I didn't really understand perspective back then, and perhaps I still don't. Few 3-leaf clovers could bring me more good luck than a single 4. I mean, it's not the best poetry, but I understand what he's trying to say, like making the most of a bad situation if I can't get what I want. A sketch of a tooth, don't know why. And then over here is drunk writing, where I've been on a night out. Drawing of a badger, probably from Google Images. I did not see a badger. I don't think I've ever seen a badger in my life. Just a study of badgers, really, and working in 2 colours. I see that I've used a white Tipex pen to get these fine details on the snout. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like seeing this one. It also makes me happy, like the duck. Okay, I've got some comments here about acid and a timestamp for drinking a coffee in Lee Rosie's, which was one of my most favourite cafes in the city. I wish I could go back there. Acid made me feel human again. I had to concentrate on surviving. My body had to be the only thing that mattered. I had waves of consciousness. I had time to plan out my recovery before being dragged back under. I had an amazing trip. Okay, and now in the book it goes to these brown pages, which are kind of cool because they contrast to the rest of the book. This is actually done in crayon because I can feel that waxy texture to it. Then there's like a scenic background. I like these two together. It's like this is a total abstract and this is sort of abstracted scenery. Maybe I've tried to draw a bridge. I don't know, but it's very beautiful. I think I coloured this in on acid. Yep. This one is the same, it's the same colours, and this is me and my 2 friends tripping as we try to keep our place stable in the world. And then here is a CRT, because I used to be a Smash player. I used to travel the country playing games, and then eventually I stopped enjoying the game as much. Right. This is the good stuff. This drawing I did at about 3 AM when I had taken acid, and my brain would just not shut up. I'd been up tripping for about 12 hours and my friends were all asleep, and I just remember getting the book out and starting this mushroom. It just has that vibe of being in the dark woods, stumbling across some mushrooms, and it looks a bit sinister how many they are. It's like they're all staring at you. And then it's painted in watercolor, red and yellow. Yeah, it's very cool. And then I've got some more street lights. Because it was so derivative and similar, I drew a little bird on top. But yeah, I love this page. It's one of the best pages. Well, I wrote terror, but to me this looks more like anxiety. That when you're out and having an anxious moment, it feels like everyone's looking at you, that everything can go wrong. Right, this is very much how I was seeing myself at the time. You know, it's sort of the functional parts of the body, bones, and the corroded, washing away spirit. This is a drawing of my friend. Her name's Minka. I really miss you, Minka. She used to call me a dominatrix, because I was very polite and soft, and I thought I would make a horrible dominatrix because I'm so tepid. Yeah, maybe one day. This one's done by my friend. It's just a nightmare monster with a little wee wee. Oh, right, this is a lemon tree from my buddy's garden in Portugal. It's more better as a memory of good times. And then I've got a drawing from the wing of the plane, and then this is when my head explodes, which I don't know what happened on this plane journey, but I had the worst pain of my entire life. As when we were landing in Portugal, it felt like someone was pinching my brain. That's all I can say. It was awful. It was so painful. I felt like if I screamed, I would have caused an incident. How much pain I was in. I was in so much pain I didn't scream. So instead I just drew this when it all settled, and it was horrible. It really did feel like my head was going to crack in half. Got another drawing here talking about my body, and you know, this sort of disparate skin, bones. I was really just losing touch with who I was. More ideas from life drawing. I think this is starting to work from memory. Right. This is a biggie. I think this is a bit of a mess, the way it's written. I'm clearly very emotional, and this is when I'm talking about starting hormones for the first time, HRT. I decided not to keep going with it at that time. I waited until a bit further on, which was proving that just taking one tiny pill won't absolutely uproot your entire life. A line that I really like in this rambling is that when I woke up the next day, I felt bizarre. It felt like an irritating banging in my head finally stopped after 10 years of living on testosterone. It felt incredibly soft and sensitive. It felt like I could think clearly, but it was like something was missing, like the tires on my car had changed. It felt like a different world. Maybe it wasn't a chemical response to the testosterone, but it was a mental response to letting go of that part of my life that I found very liberating and freeing, and I was a bit sensitive the next day. And yeah, I think that might be it for the cherry pad. And as I've covered, there's Arnold Schwarzenegger. As I've covered, this sketchbook represents a very volatile time of my life, and maybe I didn't know that when I brought the book, but it just became a log of everything that I was going through at the time, and how my art practice changed as my body changed, and how I wanted to address different things, and the thoughts I was having, like very deep, personal, unique ideas that I had to write down about how testosterone and estrogen feels to having your body, and pushing myself to work in a different way. I'm very proud of this book. It's like the tipping point for me becoming a full-blown artist. There I've got a receipt for Dr. Dre, the Chronic LP. This is some notes for D&D and Scrabble, just some ideas. But yeah, I hope this initial demonstration of my sketchbooks inspires you to start carrying your own. Maybe you have a sketchbook and you don't use it as much. Let me know if you'd like to see some more, because as I said, I have got absolutely tons of these books to go through. Maybe some of these books work as a pair because they're on similar subjects. Yeah, let me know if you'd like to see some more.